We are live.
You are listening to the Vicis Interimo show. 30 minutes to kill, more or less. We're a horror...
I was so ready for that.
We're a horror movie review podcast featuring horror, suspense, and psychological thrillers. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podomatic, just about anywhere. Just type in VICISINTERIMO. Vicis Interimo. I am Lori, and I'm here with my husband and co-host, Michael Mad Saxon Jones. Your name is really long.
Welcome to the Vicis Interimo 30 Minutes to Kill podcast.
You are listening to the Vicis Interimo show, 30 Minutes to Kill. More or less. The incredible podcast with the unpronounceable name.
Our show generally has 4 segments. First is Laid to Rest, where we tie up any loose ends from previous shows. Second, we do a short movie review. And this week's movie is Jinn. I had to struggle a little bit there. Our third segment is Garbage In, Garbage Out, where we talk about any other movies, TV shows, or books we may have caught in the last week or so. Fourth, we have our Crawling Chaos segment. This is a topic or factoid we've never talked about on the show before. Sometimes silly, sometimes serious, most always chaotic. There you go.
All right.
Sometimes, well, I proposed we do a 5th segment called Spoiler Alert, but we're not always going to have spoilers. We don't do spoilers on our show.
Right.
Right.
And if we do, we try to warn you, well...
That will be at the very, very end, and you will always get a warning.
Yeah.
Because we are about the story, and we are about experiencing things yourself and
sharing.
Discovering, discovering the surprises and all of that yourself. Why would you want to ruin that?
Exactly.
I can't stand spoilers. The only time I like a spoiler is if it's a series or something, and my favorite character who I totally love is going to bite it. I like a warning.
Okay.
But it has to be someone who I really love and care about. It has to be like my favorite character. If they're going to croak, I need to know ahead of time. Because I can't have any more Herschel things. I don't want any more. I'm still upset about Jarl Borg. I don't know.
From Vikings?
Yeah, there's just... I don't like surprises like that.
Okay. A little ironic that we're doing a horror podcast, but anyhow.
Well, generally, I don't care about people too much in horror movies. Unless it's a really excellent horror movie.
Okay.
Which today's is not.
Oh, that's a spoiler.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
All right. Well, first of all, let's get into our Laid to Rest.
Well, I think we need to lay to rest your poll that's online.
I was going to let it run for an entire month, but...
I thought it feels like it's been up for a year. And nobody's voting. You've got 3 votes and 1 vote, and the 3 of us are going to win over your one little
Well, I've
sad
got 2,
vote.
because I got Brittany backing me up, but...
Oh, she didn't vote,
She didn't vote, though.
It's still 3-2.
Yeah, so I guess we're going to do away with...
Okay, so for anyone who's not following this ridiculous thing, yes, generally you play the entire movie trailer, audio, in the podcast before we start talking about the movie.
Right.
It's very annoying to me. I would turn it off. I wouldn't listen to that because it just sounds like noise to me. And you know what? Jason Lloyd of Horrorphilia agrees. Jason Lloyd has spoken. What's that?
Nothing.
But anyway, I was going to propose a compromise. What do you think about taking just a little snippet or something. It's extra work for you, because right now you just throw it in there. How about editing out just 10 or 15 seconds of something that is pertinent instead of just all the noise and the music and the noise?
Well, I'll see what I can do.
It's just an idea.
If there's that little interest in even voting on it, maybe it doesn't even matter.
Nobody's even but nobody caring enough to even come and vote says that nobody cares whether or not they're there. So, I mean, you may as well keep them there. You know what I mean? It could go either way. Sure. Whatever. But I don't like it. Jason doesn't like it. Brian doesn't like it. So...
So anyhow, let's move on to what else do we need to cover. So the town that dreaded sundown.
That was last week's show.
Yep. And we talked a little bit about improv as well as Avengers Endgame and a little bit about audio books, audio podcasts. I even clicked a link if you went to our page, if you went to Vicis Interimo on Facebook, you could get a link to Rodney McDowell.
Okay. Yes,
reading one of H.P. Lovecraft stories. Anyhow, so that's the main point there. I don't really think we need to lay anything else to rest. This has probably gone on long enough. So before I go any further, though, I do want to thank our patrons, and those are at Lonely Bob, Big Al V, and Golda Fish. And I also want to say give a very special shout out to those members of my improv class, those that might be listening. I'm not going to call them out by name because they only might be listening. I don't know. So some people were nice enough to ask me for my card regarding the podcast. And if you are listening, thank you very much. And we'll get on with the madness here. So Jinn is a supernatural thriller from 2014. At least that's what it's billed as.
Right.
So, it's...
I'm just angry at it.
Okay.
I give it 1 star and I don't recommend it. I'm done.
Wow, that was it? All right, so my very first note on here, well, first of all, you mentioned Jason Lloyd earlier, which ties in because when I first we did on the Horrorphilia Network, we did a rival podcast with another group over the Wishmaster series.
Right.
And so that's when I did a lot of research for
the
Jinn.
Yes.
And was surprised to find out with the Wishmaster series how it takes a turn into the biblical or the angelic or the angels versus the Jinn, not necessarily arguably demons, but it takes an odd turn, or what I thought was an odd turn, until I did more research and to find out what Jinn actually were. Angels are beings that are composed of light, whereas man is being composed of clay, and Jinn are composed of fire. My only exposure to Jinn were, the Sinbad movies.
I Dream of Genie?
Aladdin, I Dream of Genie, exactly.
She's a good Jinn.
Yes. So...
they're not usually that agreeable.
Right. So there was more to it. Now, I'm familiar with the Book of Solomon and holding power over the Jinn and stuff like that. None of that, or only marginally, comes up with the movie that we're supposed to be talking about.
Well, this is more interesting to talk about than the movie, maybe.
All right. So the first note pertaining to this movie, though, said, slick graphics, but so did The Unwilling. If you remember the opening scene of the movie we talked about a few weeks back, The Unwilling, that was the one that had Lance Henriksen in it.
Yeah.
Had a tremendous opening scene.
Oh, yeah.
We were so excited, and then everything else in the movie went downhill. With this movie from 2014, it's about Shawn, an automotive designer that enjoys an idyllic life with his wife, Jasmine.
Wait. So it has it right there in the open...
In the summary that I'm reading here, off of IMDb.
Why did it have to say automotive designer? Man, that...
That obviously was a sticking point for you throughout this.
Well, one of my dislikes I wrote down about this movie, and it is the weirdest thing. I don't think I've ever had this complaint about anything, any movies before. All I wrote was someone likes cars. The car reference that, oh, look at the fancy car. Look at the fast car. I draw cars. I work on cars. I love my car. Can that outrun a Jinn? What, my car? Heck yeah, it can. Cars. So you sitting here and telling me, okay, read the synopsis, please.
All right, I'm going to read this synopsis as written from...
Go ahead.
From IMDb. Shawn, an automotive designer, enjoys an idyllic life with his new wife, Jasmine, until it is interrupted by a cryptic message. The message warns of imminent danger and a curse that has afflicted his family for generations.
He's an automotive designer. Did you catch that? He likes cars.
If I didn't catch it from that, or from him sitting down drawing, or for the hood placed ornamentally on the wall, I'd have guessed that.
I mean, I'm sounding really horrible and mean probably, but no, I mean, I get it because I love cars. But if I do a movie about cars, then that would be awesome. I don't know. I know they've already done Christine, and they've already done,
the car.
The car. But it was just so, obvious, I guess, because there wasn't a lot going on in the movie, the dialogue, but cars was a topic that just kept jumping out at me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
I don't even know where to start with this thing.
I'm going to start.
My notes are such a mess. I did so much writing because so many things made me upset. My notes are all awry.
This was a wonderful movie. There were so many good things. Boy, you're looking at me daggers.
I'm just waiting to find out what
the hook is. This had so many good points in it. Mm-hmm. And so many bad points that the bad points lost. I wanted this to be a so big movie. I wanted this to be so bad it was good.
It wasn't.
But it's not even cheesy. The cinematography, so many things were nice about it. Great opening shots and stuff. But then you go to these sets.
To the land of the lost. I was looking for slee stacks and stuff. I could hear them out there in the background somewhere. That's why I said my very first words were that I'm just upset at it. The movie makes me angry, 1 star, and I don't recommend it. I'm angry at it because they put the money in there. They put the time and effort to make it look really super great and to have some really super great effects in there.
Right.
A really cool story idea.
Right.
Awesome subject matter. A great actor in there. They had Darth Maul in there.
Ray Park, yeah.
Yes.
William Atherton was in there and stuff, too. You'd recognize him when you saw it. So
all of these things, that is the making of a great movie. And then the writing messed it up. The acting messed it up. The over-dramatic melodrama crap messed it up. The overproduction, while it looked beautiful, but it was... For what you were actually given substance-wise, it was totally overproduced.
Well, that was my note.
I should have wrote some more examples on that.
That was my point.
The outdoor scenes with the fake fog crap where it looked like they're on just a bad TV series, weekly series set or something. The houses were nice inside. Those scenes were... great. Mm-hmm. I mean, and believable, but then all of a sudden they're dropped into these lame looking caves and stuff. I don't know.
So again, I hate
oh god, and then they put the car chase in there. I was like, oh, I knew that was coming because cars.
I hate to tear down anybody else's project, and I'm not tearing it down. This just wasn't for us. It was written and directed.
Oh, it wasn't for anybody.
But
I'm sorry.
So here's the thing.
I wouldn't be so angry and so hard on it if it was crappy the whole way through.
Right.
But it's like, God, you guys did so much great stuff and put so much effort in there, and then other things just completely fell apart and was garbage. That's why I'm angry at it. Do better.
What I've been trying to spit out for the last 5 minutes now is
pedestrian writing.
It seems like an overproduced student film.
Yes.
And I don't mean that as an insult to a student or anybody else. It's just it was really great. Like I said, there was glimmers of genius in there.
Yeah.
But those parts set the bad parts apart so wide, so far.
You got it.
That it felt uneven. And my final note for this, not that I have to end right here.
Corny ending? That was my final note. What? That was the lamest ending. Oh, stop it.
That ending or the false ending or the second ending?
The false ending was so bad.
All right.
So bad.
My final note was...
Like, don't try to end it humorous and cute. Just stop it.
My final note was, screw this. Watch Demon Knight.
Okay.
Yeah, watch the Tales from the Crypt. I mean, you're basically getting the same story, though it's with demons as opposed to Jinn. Now, I read that part of the synopsis. The story, the information dump you get at the very beginning of the movie tells you that the Jinn originally held dominion over the earth.
Yeah.
And
it had a good... came out of the gate good, and I was like, all right. I was into it. Yeah. I was like, okay, I love the topic. I do, and... I was like, okay, this is a flashback. This was 1901. It's going to give us, it's going to start setting up the story for us. Let us know who these people are and what's going on. But by the time you hit present day and you meet I can't even say hero because he was a complete ding dong. They picked him just because he's nice looking, which sounds horrible. But he maybe just found himself in a movie he maybe did what he was asked to do.
Now, you did point out that
the character was a ding-dong. The actor, I'm sure, is a great actor and a wonderful person. I'm sure he's not a ding-dong. But I am so sorry that he had to play this part.
That his acting within the movie was better throughout.
I wrote that here somewhere in my mess.
Yes.
He got to play a bad version of himself, and I was like, okay, there it is. He's a really great actor.
Yeah.
But then he went back to being Ding Dong again. I don't know. Man, it just makes me angry.
So,
I want them to redo the movie. Don't invite everyone back. But I want Darth Maul back to play the good Jinn. The guy that played the crazy uncle, he was totally fine.
Yeah.
Bring him back. Yeah. Invite a couple of them back. Revamp it. Keep the effects. I loved what did you think of the Jinn itself?
The Jinn was awesome.
I know.
That's what I said.
That's what makes me so pissed. Dang it.
There were so many standout things in this.
Yeah.
That, so I'm skipping to the end here and saying, what's your rating? You've already said it was a 1 and a not recommend. I really think people should see it and study it, not watch it as a movie.
Oh no. Study it as to what not to do, or have it be a cautionary tale for filmmakers.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to hear other people's input on this because...
Me too, yes. And I don't want to just go on Netflix and read the general public's...
Right.
I liked it or I didn't. Like, I would really like to hear a well thought out constructive criticism of this movie and see how far off we are.
Because we're not giving that.
Well, I mean, we're the general public, arguably, but we dig a little deeper. We worry about things that maybe most people don't.
Right.
But some people might just recognize this as a bad movie, like it was done.
But there's so many things that were brilliant in there that made it. Yeah. I won't say made it worth watching, but well worth seeing.
Yeah.
The effects in there and stuff were phenomenal.
See, and I feel like they put together a team, but I feel like the writers failed. Whoever was in charge of the writing, though I think it was writer-director.
Written and directed.
Yeah, see, and I'm sorry for that. Was that his car, too?
Maybe.
I feel like the team they put together, everybody was at very different levels.
Uh-huh.
And it makes me sad for the people that really were, expert in their field.
Right.
Because then some of the other people didn't bring it. Yeah. They didn't bring it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry that I can't pronounce this guy's name. It's
Don't try
so I'm not even going to try.
Okay.
But
Which guy?
The writer and the director of it.
Okay.
So because there were some things that were, like I said, just absolutely superb. I keep going on about that. So it's worth a watch on fast forward, whatever.
Oh,
maybe.
dear. Yeah.
But I'm having a tough
Why?
time. I've got to say.
Why?
Because there's some good things to see, some great things to see there.
Just fast forward to the scenes where the Jinn is on there.
Maybe so.
And like the thing that I like, I finally was like, oh my gosh, this is a really cool scene, because the Jinn I liked seeing. The scenes or what was going on wasn't anything spectacular, but just visually I liked how this thing looked. Whether it was the floating corpse or the burning what it
Jinn,
looked like. Those were really great. But one scene, because Darth Maul was in it. I'm sorry, what's his name again? What?
Ray Park.
Ray Park. He was in a really great action scene. I mean, but it... I forgot how I wrote it, but it was under my likes, and it was a scene where he's expelling the demons from a group of people that are rushing towards him, and I was like, whoa, what's this? Okay, they've got this really cool... They put this really cool, fun scene in here, but then like it went on really long, and it started to get really corny. And then the main character was a complete ding-dong and ruined the whole thing anyway. So I thought, ugh. It's like I wrote that under my likes, but it was like a half like and a half this is horrible, please kill me now because I can't watch this.
I guess my number on it's a 2. I'm going to have to say I didn't like it. Even though there were things I loved in it, I'm going to say I didn't like it. And it's not a recommend unless you're just looking for...
It's terrible.
...how to do some things right.
Yeah, I feel terrible about that. And that's why I'm just mostly upset about it.
Yeah.
It just makes me mad at them because they had such great stuff.
Almost there. We're mad about them falling short.
How would I do it different? Would it be awesome if I did it? Probably not. I mean, I'm not saying,
I'm not saying we have the answer as to how to fix this or whatever, but it just was...
Well, actually, you know what? I could write a better story.
Yeah?
I could. The story was... I liked the story.
Right.
The
dialogue, if you could have
the interactions between the people.
Yeah.
Like, who wrote that? It was so bad.
It just went flat, maybe. Well... Anyhow, that's probably enough about that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to our ever so brief garbage in, garbage out. For garbage in, garbage out, all we can really say is Skyrim, 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 and more Skyrim, right?
Yeah.
Would you say somebody's been monopolizing the TV lately?
Maybe. I finally got back home to Skyrim.
One thing that we did watch, though, was Game of Thrones.
We did.
We finished that, much like everybody else. We saw that final episode now.
Yeah.
Generally...
Everyone needs to calm down.
Okay.
It's fine. Everything went the way I think it should have.
So, there's a great meme or whatever, though, that shows the complexity of the first episodes and stuff, working their way through a maze, and then it says, season 8 or whatever, where the line just goes straight through to the center of the maze and stuff, as opposed to that. And
it did have what
short
people
timer
call
syndrome?
the tidy wrap up.
Yeah.
I remember about 20, 30 years ago learning about the tidy wrap-up.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, you can really spot it in some things. It's like, okay, we've got this giant story all over the place, and it's a mess, and we need to end it, like, now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Boy, that was fast.
I mean, I can't say that George R. Martin has done any better, because we're still waiting for those 2 books of his.
He doesn't care.
He does. Well, he claims that it's not going to be the same as the ending of the show, obviously.
Oh, well, no.
No, it shouldn't be, and it couldn't be.
No, people are... I don't understand. It's not hard. I mean, people can't understand that.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what I learned some years ago. It was... I've known it all along or whatever, but it was summed up succinctly for me in Michael Crichton's Rising Sun. And the phrase, or it is, people do what they want with the things they own.
Yes.
So I apply that to all kinds of things. In this case, it was talking about Japan doing certain things in at least in the fictional and in the real world, in Hawaii and what have you and stuff, where they're doing what they want because they bought up these portions of Hawaii and so on.
Right.
Anyhow, my point is, it applies to everything. I know it's a not sequitur, whatever. I use that in everyday life, though. I look at that all the time, and when I get upset about something or whatever, I think, shouldn't be that way. You know what? I don't own that. I'm not the artist. I didn't make this. I didn't create this. I'm not the showrunner. I'm not the one who. It's theirs. They put this art out for us to enjoy. We either do or we don't.
Yes.
If we don't like it, well, run your own role-playing game, and you can run it any way you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as your DM is agreeable.
Exactly.
Which you always are, so I thank you for that. It was good. Yeah. I'm going to be watching now because I don't follow George R. R. Martin on Twitter, but he blogs and it gets posted in a dozen different places. I actually read his blogs on goodreads.com.
Okay.
Which he does not respond to your... People always tell him off on there or ask him questions. He does not keep up his Goodreads. But anyway, I'm going to be watching for he's going to comment on all of this.
Right.
And he's done a ton of interviews. You could go on YouTube and hear about dozens of different topics. He's very happy to talk about the TV show.
I'm sorry. It just occurred to me something else that I watched this week was Stephen King and George R. R. Martin talking to each other or whatever, and George R. R. Martin asking Stephen King, how the hell do you write so fast?
Oh.
So I might actually post that little interview. Because Stephen King sits down and he does it. He says he does 6 pages a day. That's it. He does. And they're like, well, how do you do that? Well, I just do it. That's what I do.
They were too polite to say, I'm sure, but I could tell you why.
Why?
I mean, look how different their writing styles are. You've read both now.
Okay.
George R. R. Martin, Stephen King is absolutely a storyteller, and he is straight to the point.
Yeah.
He just writes it. Martin, come on. You've read the first 5 Game of Thrones books. Yeah. He is a master at that complicated, long, round and round in circles kind of intriguing writing. I mean, it's so totally different.
This is true.
So different.
This is true.
But yeah, he always admits in all of his interviews, he says he's the slowest writer ever.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to tell us that.
Anyhow. So really that's it for Garbage In, Garbage Out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now we're going to touch upon a topic for Crawling Chaos.
Okay.
I want to call it an allied art to something we've talked about before. We've talked before, actually I think I did it as a short topic, or maybe it was a headshot, regarding lying, spotting liars and such. Okay. Remember when Lie to Me was on and stuff? That was something I talked about.
Yep.
But today's topic is body language. This is from Wired.
And when we talked about this in the past, and it was kind of coming along with the show Lie to Me.
Right.
It was about micro expressions just in the face.
Right.
So this is different.
This is slightly different in that we're talking about body language, the entire art of that or whatever. But this is from Wired magazine.
My role-playing character, I made sure to buy the whole body language, reading people's body language.
And he talks about some of the misconceptions about that, as well as his job was to catch spies and stuff. So
I'm sorry, and who is this?
This is a former FBI agent that was interviewed and it's a whole video that you can watch or listen to or whatever on YouTube. But he explains and talks about that, and there's a lot of disinformation or misinformation or things that are misrepresented or overemphasized.
Okay.
Because everything is pop psychology these days. You learn a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and suddenly everybody's an expert.
I was going to say, everyone's an armchair expert.
Yeah. And I'm absolutely guilty of that. I love doing that. But I enjoy learning things and stuff. I was actually going to say this.
You don't claim to be an expert.
I don't claim to be an expert at anything. I don't think I claim anything at all. I can't really think of anything I'm expert at. Just being me. That's all.
You're an expert at knowing me.
That's true.
You're the only person alive on the whole entire planet
now
that really knows me.
Gross and sappy and stuff. But anyhow,
it's not gross and sappy. It's just a fact.
Getting back to the crawling chaos here. And I'll post a link and stuff. It's very interesting.
I happened to hear you when you were watching it. I heard him talking about people crossing their arms.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
So the popular conception is that people crossing their arms is to keep you at a distance, to keep you...
They're hiding something, they're acting shady.
Either hiding something or they're... intimidated is not the right word, but if you're dealing with somebody you don't like and you're cross your arms, it's neither defiance nor trying to keep them away from you. It's actually self-soothing.
Okay.
So it's basically you're hugging yourself.
Okay.
You need reassurance or whatever. So it's not necessarily that you're trying to block them out.
Right.
You're just reassuring yourself as you do that.
I think someone crossing their arms to be intimidating or to keep someone at a distance, I think it's more obvious.
There's more to go to it.
Because they stand up straighter and their face might look...
Yeah, there's other cues that are going to go with this. So
it's just about the more subtle things you're doing when you're just sitting chit-chatting with somebody.
Subtle things about people's eyes going to one side or another. The movie, The Negotiator, I think with Kevin Spacey and... give me a second here. Says MF all the time. Samuel L. Jackson. Sorry. I need to remind you. Yeah, so there was a movie with him, and they made a big deal about the fact that whether you look to the left or the right, you're accessing a certain part of your brain. So you must be lying if you're looking towards the creative side of your brain to think of what to do. Where this guy says it's more likely you're just processing the information.
Yeah, you're just thinking.
And so doesn't necessarily mean or it's not indicative of the fact that you're lying automatically because your eyes go to that one side.
Why did I just think of BMO? Processing.
I don't know. Because we watch way too much Adventure Time still.
Yeah.
Even though the series is over.
I'll never stop.
You know what else is over?
What?
This episode.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
I think we killed
That's probably good.
All right.
All right.
As always, you can get in contact with us by emailing me directly at madsaxon, MADSAXXON, @yahoo.com. You can find us on Stitchers, Podomatic, Podpickle, any number of places.
Blueberry.
You can find us on...
iHeartRadio?
We're not there yet, I don't think.
We should be.
Sure.
That's like finally, the general public finally knows what podcasts are, and it's because of them on iHeartRadio. It's because of everyone's like, oh my gosh, there's this new thing, this iHeartRadio. There's these things called podcasts where you can hear about. Yes, thank you for that. Yes, I know.
Been doing this over 10 years now. Yes, we're familiar. But at any rate, you can get in contact with us any of those places. Follow us on Facebook.
Join our group.
If you've joined the Facebook Vicis Interimo page, make sure you go to the group because we will post more items there.
The group is more fun.
The group has more fun, unique things, and maybe a little bit more personal stuff. Not deeply personal. But
let's do one last call for people to come by and vote on our poll.
I feel like a person that threw a party and nobody showed up.
It's really pathetic. It's so sad.
At any rate.
And our question is...
do we dump the audio trailers for the movies that we cover for the podcast?
Why are you trying to read your own sentences?
Why am I trying to write sentences?
I've been trying to figure that out. I don't know.
The worst part is it's been seen by 47 people, but only
maybe they didn't understand the question.
Maybe I wrote it wrong. I don't know. Anyhow.
So, do we keep the trailers, the audio of the trailers, or do we get rid of them? I say we dump them. He says to keep them. Please come by. Let us know what you think.
I'm almost over that, so at any rate. Thanks for listening.
I think better been recording.
Oh, shh.